Hey guys, welcome back to the Bay Area Sports Addiction. My name is Alex, and today we're going to be talking about the San Francisco 49ers matching up with the Seattle Seahawks in the wildcard round of the 2023 now NFL playoffs. So starting off, this is going to be the third time that the San Francisco 49ers will play the Seattle Seahawks this season, and only the second time ever that they've played the Seahawks in the playoffs. The first time being the 2013 NFC Championship game with Colin Kaepernick, and the famous play where Richard Sherman, deflects the pass to Michael Crabtree, and then calls him a sorry receiver in the post-game interview, which is actually pretty surprising. That this is the only the second time these two teams matched up in the playoffs. They seem like bigger rivals where they do meet, twice a year in NFC West divisional games, but you'd think that they meet more often in the playoffs. But this will be their second matchup in the playoffs ever against the Seahawks. Third time this year. They'll be playing them. In the prior two games against the Seahawks, the 49ers have absolutely destroyed the Seahawks. Rushing the ball, the 49ers have put up 170 and 189 yards in each of the two games. Passing the ball, only 184 and 211 passing yards. So that may be an area of the game that the Seattle Seahawks are going to try and limit the 49ers. They may stack the box with safeties and linebackers, force Brock Purdy to win the game for the 49ers. And at least from what we've seen over the season since Brock Purdy took over for Jimmy Garoppolo in that Miami Dolphins game, he's been able to step up and answer the bell. So we'll see if the playoffs get to him, but in my opinion, I don't think that's going to happen. On the defensive side of the ball, the San Francisco 49ers gave up 207 and 180 passing yards in each of the two games against the Seattle Seahawks, and only 36 and 70 rushing yards in those two games. So obviously Niners number one defense in the league, specifically number one rush defense in the league. They will look to take away the run, and that could be an opportunity for Seattle. They may try and look to exploit the secondary of the 49ers. They've been a little bit shaky these past few games, but Mooney Ward has obviously been a shutdown corner on DK Metcalf all year in both the games, holding him underneath 60 yards per game. And then on the other side, the Seahawks are getting Tyler Lockett back after he had the hand injury a couple weeks ago. So we will have to see if Deommodore Lenoir can hold up on the other side. He was having a little bit of trouble with A.J. Green, a little bit of trouble in the past 2 or 3 games of the season. The 49ers are going to have to run the ball down the Seattle Seahawks' throat, and our secondary is going to have to step up. And that is more of like on the defensive side of the ball, it's more of a two-pronged attack, because over the last couple games, especially in that Raiders game where the Niners kind of got torched by Jared Stidham, it was a lot of the secondary had to guard their man longer than they should have been, because the pass rush wasn't getting there, and even in some plays Jared Stidham was scrambling for big chunk gains and for first downs on plays where he shouldn't have been able to do that. The pass rush needs to, contain Geno Smith this week, but they're going to have to get to the passer while sticking to their rush lanes. We can't let them scramble for easy first downs that should be, forced punts or forced field goals for that matter. Moving on from the San Francisco 49ers and Seattle Seahawks, this is Wildcard Weekend, so I have a slate of predictions for you guys. Obviously, the first game of the weekend, 49ers Seahawks. Got to go with the 49ers. Heavy favorites, over 9 points, 9.5 points, I believe, at the moment. And then the second game of the day on Saturday is the Chargers against the Jaguars. Personally, I don't really trust the Jaguars. I mean, they should have been able to beat the Titans by way more than they did in that last week of the season just to get into the playoffs. Trevor Lawrence is obviously a really good player, but I feel like he misses some of the easy throws, and that was evident in that Titans game. And the Chargers are getting healthy, and when they have all their receivers, I believe Mike Williams is doubtful to play, but with Keenan Allen in there, I think the Chargers are going to be able to pull it off in Justin Herbert's first playoff game. That the Jaguars' defense has played really well this season, but I think that Chargers' offense is just so powerful through the air. As long as Brandon Staley doesn't mess anything up for them. Moving on, I'm going to go with the Bengals over the Ravens. It doesn't look like Lamar Jackson's going to play, so this game may be a blowout. We'll see. The Bengals have played really well over the past couple weeks. Obviously, they didn't have a game due to the Damar Hamlin situation, but they've been on a roll. So I'm going to just go with the Bengals there. Okay, Giants against the Vikings. I will go with the Giants here. Personally, I think the Vikings are frauds. The Giants have had the fourth best rushing attack in terms of yards per game this season, and the Vikings have the 20th best rush defense. I think that Saquon, both running and catching the ball out of the backfield, is going to be a key for the Giants here, winning this game. But we will have to see. This will be a close one to keep an eye on because it'll determine whether, if the 49ers do make it through, whether they're going to be playing the Vikings at home or moving on to the winner of the Cowboys and the Bucks. In that game, personally, I will be taking the Bucks. Dak has played really bad the last 2 weeks. Their defense has, I wouldn't say fallen apart towards the end of the season, but they're nowhere near as good as they were at the beginning of the season. And Tom Brady's just been to the playoffs too many times. He knows how to win in the playoffs. And I just think personally, both teams have good defenses, but I think the Cowboys' offense is pretty abysmal. At least the last couple weeks, they've been really bad. They lost to the Commanders last week, and they should have won. But yeah, that's going to round out my predictions for the Wildcard Weekend games. Moving on to the next segment, I have put together my list, at least, for who I would have voted for the end-of-season awards in the NFL. So starting off with the MVP, going to obviously go with Patrick Mahomes, best player in the league, on the best team in the league. There's not a whole lot to say. He's incredible. He shows us new things every week. And they're heavy favorites. Maybe not heavy, but they're favorites to win the Super Bowl because of him. He's the most valuable player in the league. Moving on, the defensive player of the year is Nick Bosa. I think most sports books have taken down the odds actually on defensive player of the year because of the odds that have shown up because of Nick Bosa. He is the heavy favorite, obviously, leads the league in sacks, 18.5, and leads the league in pressures, tackled for losses, etc. There's not a whole lot else that hasn't been said about Nick Bosa. But moving on, offensive player of the year, I'm going to go with Justin Jefferson. Like I mentioned before, I think the Vikings are frauds. That team is not good. Justin Jefferson has single-handedly kept them in like tight games. With the Vikings have all these one-score wins because they're not good, and then Kirk Cousins just throws it up to Justin Jefferson. He ends up with like 180 yards, 2 touchdowns every single game, it seems like. So Justin Jefferson, my offensive player of the year. Comeback player of the year, I'm going to go with Geno Smith. This was a surprise, I think, to everyone coming into the year. Geno Smith, 10th year in the league, and he just makes his first Pro Bowl. He was even in MVP talks like at the beginning of the year. He was lighting up defenses. So that's my comeback player of the year. Congrats to Geno. I think he earned himself a lot of money this year. My coach of the year, Kyle Shanahan. Maybe it's a 49ers bias, but when you win, as many games as we do on your third string quarterback and look absolutely dominant while doing it, there's something that's got to be said there, and I think that recognition has to go to Kyle Shanahan. He's been known to be like one of the best coaches in the league, just schematically. He's like a rushing genius. He scripts his plays, all that. But I think now that we've seen, the 49ers go through Trey Lance for a game and a half, Jimmy Garoppolo for a few games, and then now Brock Purdy, and still being able to play at this high level, this dominant level, really speaks to the coaching staff and Kyle Shanahan specifically. Moving on, the offensive rookie of the year, in my opinion, is going to be Kenneth Walker of the Seattle Seahawks. He really came in after Rashad Penny's injury and kind of picked up where Rashad left off. He was just running the rock, and not a lot of people could take him down. He looked like a top 15, top 10 running back in the league, like right away. And I know some people may say, Garrett Wilson deserves to be the offensive rookie of the year. And yeah, like give Garrett Wilson his flowers. He had 1,000 yards this year as a rookie with the abysmal QB situation that the Jets have. But personally, in my opinion, I think Kenneth Walker really propelled the rush offense of the Seattle Seahawks, and kind of kept them in the playoff race. Defensive rookie of the year, I'm going to go Sauce Gardner of the New York Jets. He was amazing this year. As a cornerback, he had the lowest passer rating allowed, the most forced incompletions allowed, etc. as a rookie. So he just steps right in, one of the best cornerbacks in the league. You can't find that. You can't find that everywhere. Aiden Hutchinson was a close second for me. I think he'll be an amazing player. He had 3 interceptions as a defensive lineman, and I went back and looked at them all. I thought, oh, maybe they were just tip passes and they fell in his lap. He was dropping back into coverage and picking guys off. So on screen passes and little check downs, but still, he was making plays. But yeah, my defensive rookie of the year, Sauce Gardner. Yeah, and I think that will be it for me this week. Sorry for the long layoff. Past couple weeks, we had holiday break. I was on vacation too. But yeah, all right. Well, thanks for joining us.